Okay guys, so hear me out. This is gonna get a little kooky. If you don't have your mind open, just keep scrolling right now because you're gonna think I sound ridiculous. But I'm at the point where like I don't mind sounding crazy because things are clicking in my brain. And if it's not in yours, I don't know. So I said in the last video that the English language has a bunch of witchcraft in it. Hear me out. Hold on. So when I first heard this, I was like, what are you talking about? But then when someone broke it down, I was like, what is going on? So you know how we learn cursive in school, right? I already talked about television, television. Now back to our scheduled programming, channeling certain visions on the television, programming us to think certain things that they put on the television is fiction when it really is non-fiction. Y'all know that with technology, they have it already made 30 years before they release it to the public because they put out things little by little to see what the public can handle. Like with the existence of sirens. You guys remember that documentary where that submarine went to the bottom of the ocean and that hand was on the glass and people were like, oh my gosh, mermaids are real, mermaids are real. That was a fake documentary. It was a pseudo documentary to test how much the public can handle. Look it up. Anyway, y'all, off topic. So when it comes to English, you know how the Bible says there's life and death in the tongue, right? You know how they did that whole study about plants and like when you speak positively to plants and negatively to plants, the ones that got spoke negatively to, they stopped growing and died, but the ones that got spoke positively to flourished and grew. That's because our words have frequencies. Our words mean a lot. This is why people are so heavy on like speaking positive, like speaking things into the universe. I don't believe in like the universe. I believe in Jesus Christ. And I understand why the Bible tells us there's life and death in the tongue, not only on how we treat each other and treat people, but also what we say, what we put out there, because the enemy is always watching. The enemy is always waiting for your vulnerability and what you speak over your life to try to turn that into reality. So when it comes to cursive, right, it's literally in the name, which is crazy. You know how with cursive you have to continue your stroke? I always remember my English teacher told me, never let your pen leave the paper. If you do, then it's going to be messed up. You have to continue until the end. You know how with witchcraft you have to continue the ritual to the end or else it won't work. Why is it called cursive? Cursive. What? Why would it be called that? On top of that, when we're spelling a word, it's called spelling. When we get out of school, and you already know that there's a matrix out there that they create for us, not like a literal matrix, but the 9 to 5, working until you are literally dead and tired. You only live on the weekends. You keep this endless cycle where you're paying bills, paying off debt, going to work, being tired, paying bills, paying off debt, eating, sleeping, pooping, getting tired. They want to keep us so earthly minded and stressed and distracted that we don't see the heavenly meaning behind things. So when you're kicked out of school, right, you're called expelled. Expelled? Y'all, what? Our days of the week, it's called weekdays. When we're in our 9 to 5s and we are spiritually like drained and mentally and emotionally drained by the end of the week, because they're weekdays, because of this reality that they want us to play into. By the end, it's called weekends. We are weakened by the end of our weekdays. Come on, y'all, it's literally in the language. And I thought it was crazy at first too, but then I started thinking, I'm like, this is weird, like this is crazy. And something is not right about it. Even in our lingo, y'all, even in our lingo, we speak like when we're laughing at something, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm weak, I'm dead. What? Like why is so much of our language negative and what we speak over ourselves negative? Why? Make it make sense. I'm not saying don't speak English or don't speak, but it really does go to show how easily we can talk so negatively on our life and not even realize it. All I know is it's food for thought, okay? I'm not telling you to believe me. I'm not telling you to think that this is real. All I'm saying is that it's strange. Like everything I'm learning, the more I wake up, the more strange the world is becoming. Anyway, y'all, as always, make sure you like, follow, and comment down below what you think about this.